What a topic. This video could go on for some time because there is genuinely a lot for me to say, and I suppose fortunately, but still unfortunate, there was an attack this morning, which is kind of proving my point about this whole video. And when I was thinking about making it, I kind of needed something like this to show you actually what I mean. Today, in this video, while you are watching, we are going to sort of approach the topic of Muslim and Islam and Islamic behaviour, because I'm getting fed up of seeing things that are wrong. So there is a lot of people that will sit there and will attack Muslims and Islam and everything that it stands for in every way that they can. There is a lot of common misconceptions, so before I even start on this topic, I do want to make some things quite clear. For number one, I am a white British male. Number two, I am not a Muslim. I am not a follower of Islam. I have done probably a little bit of research into this whole topic. I've never fully read the Quran. I don't speak Arabic. I have never been to the Middle East. I have, a very few number of actual Muslim friends who have spoken to me about their faith and what their faith actually stands for. So my opinion is actually based upon my own independent research. The reason I am approaching this topic is because I'm getting fed up of things that I'm seeing in the media. Not only the media, but the way that people's perceptions are of Muslims and Islam. For me personally, this whole thing about hating Islam actually started back in September the 11th, when the Twin Towers and the Pentagon was attacked in America. A lot of people sort of believed the media then in saying, oh my god, it was totally an Islamic attack, and you know, look, the Middle East is like totally celebrating. And there was actually footage that got put out on the news of people out in a street celebrating. Now, it later turned out that the people were celebrating about something else completely different, to the point that the footage had been filmed before the September the 11th attacks. But that does kind of go with my little theory on that, which we're going to just touch upon for a second, if that's okay. Me personally, I don't believe that the September the 11th attacks on the Twin Towers especially were as we were told by the media. A prime example of this is a case that was up in court last year, I think it was, over here in the United Kingdom, where a fella managed to avoid paying his TV licence because he claimed that the BBC had falsely reported the September the 11th attacks. Mainly because, as we know, in America there was the Twin Towers that came down. And a lot of people forget that there was another building nearby which actually came down as a part of them attacks. Now, the BBC have come under heavy criticism since then for their news reporting, because they actually reported that that third building had come down, but neglected to actually sort of look behind them where the building was still standing. That was at the time that they were reporting that building has already come down. So it does kind of add to the theory that, hang on, was the media in on this? Was this whole thing fake? And that also joins into a lot of people, a lot of construction experts in America. I can't remember the name of the organisation, but there is one that joined in, and they said actually the way that them buildings came down is not the way that them buildings would have come down had that just have been a plane attack on the building. So if the plane had gone in towards the top, the bottom part of the structure would have still stood. But the way that that building came down looked like a controlled explosion. A lot of people on the day, including firefighters, witnesses, people that were in the buildings, have reported all hearing these bangs. Well, if a plane has entered a building, okay, you're going to hear an initial bang, but subsequently you are not going to hear any more bangs in the way that you would if a building had explosives, or maybe even some sort of I don't know, an accelerant in order to help the flame spread and bring the building down. So there is a lot of factual stuff out there which is being put forward to the American government time and time again to say, do you know what, you need to reopen the investigation in this because we're not satisfied. You didn't answer this question, you didn't answer that question. There's a lot of things that still need to be looked into. You know, we still need to look into why certain witnesses had their statements completely dismissed in the final report into the September the 11th attacks. We need to look into why the rubble that was left of the buildings was sort of cleared up near enough straight away. You know, when a site like that needs to be fully investigated, that site would not be cleared for quite some time. But work to actually remove the rubble was done near enough straight away, and that's a little bit odd as well. So, it was only a couple of years after the September the 11th attacks when I first started to think, hang on, maybe these people are actually onto something. And I don't normally believe in conspiracy theories. I will look into sort of every avenue that there is possible if a particular topic does take interest for me. But I was on a website called YouNow. I was quite a regular user, and there was a number of people that were on there on one particular night that were talking about September the 11th, and they said, well, actually, you know, maybe, yeah, this does need to be opened again. And, you know, they were talking about some of the attack and what had happened and everything like that. And that sort of struck in the back of my mind going, hang on, have we sort of scapegoated to Muslims here? And is the attack as we believe? It has been since then that I have been looking into sort of the media and how it reports on Muslims, and obviously the attacks that we have in the Middle East at home and away, you know, these attacks that happen world over, which is why I say about today. So today in France, in an area of France I can't pronounce, an attack has taken place. They say that it's on a factory. They say that a man has been decapitated. They say that he has Islamic markings on his arm, on his body, Islamic writing, should I say, that it's been reported as. They say that the Islamic attack also left flags at the site as well, which I find a little bit odd. I think the best way for me to kind of talk about this topic, and meaning in the here and now, is for me to actually go through the comments that are coming in with that story. So let's take a little look. One person says here, so someone suffers a horrific death and all you lot can do is be racist. Whether you're sticking up for Muslims or slating them, you're both as bad as each other. Someone died, you heartless pigs. You're the problem with this world, sticking your noses in social media and making it this way. Thoughts are with the people who actually matter. Now that is quite true. A lot of people are jumping to, oh, it was an Islamic attack. But the thing is, there's several things with that. The way that the media reported it straight away was, this is an Islamic attack. Now, other people have joined in. They've had witnesses on the phone and that sort of thing who said, I think it might be an Islamic attack. But most of the media has actually been saying this is an Islamic attack. So this one is a series of comments that have taken place. This person says, religion of peace. Another person says, yep, this person is so Muslim that he went and killed someone during Ramadan, a time when Muslims are not even allowed to eat from sunrise to sunset, say or hear bad words or shout aggressively. Yet this person casually decapitates a body. What a complete fool. Thoughts and prayers to the family of the victim of those injured is what we should be thinking. I wonder why his actions to so many will now sum up, this is Islam. Yet the millions of other Muslims right now giving abundantly to charitable causes and fasting to empathise with those less vulnerable. This selective attribution to what Islam is such a broken, illogical way of thinking. The very basis of common sense is not to generalise further than evidence allows for. A cracking comment, it really is. It genuinely gets you thinking, because a lot of people are thinking that attack sums up Islam. And there's a couple of points that I do want to bring up on this, but the person also then goes on to saying that, you know what, evidence. If you're going to say something like that, have evidence, which is a tremendous point to actually make, because a lot of people just say, this is what Islam is, this is what Muslims stand for, but they have no evidence to actually back that up. Probably more than likely it is words that they twist to try and back them up, but not the actual truth. What you see on your screen at the moment is the Islamic flag. This is what the flag of Islam looks like. So if you see something else, for example what the Islamic State claim to use as the flag of Islam, which looks a little bit like this what you see right now, that is not the Islamic flag. That does not stand for Islam. That stands for the Islamic State, which does not represent Islam. Now, the other thing to say about the Islamic flag is that yes, it does look very similar to the flag for Pakistan, but it is not the flag for Pakistan, so please don't be getting them too confused. But that is the thing that we are looking for here. So when in today's media the news says, the flag of Islam was left, is that what they found? Did they find that green one, or did they find the black one with the writing? Also, what I have with as a problem with the media today is them saying that there was Islamic markings were found on this man. Now, what markings did they actually find? Because from what I can gather, and from what I have been told, Islam does not have its own language. There is a language which is commonly associated with Islamic things, which is Arabic. But the Arabic language is not exclusive to Islamic people. It is not exclusive to Muslims. It is a language. So other people can speak that language. That other people can put markings on other people using the Arabic language. But that does not necessarily mean that they follow Islam. One person here put, well, it's not going to stop because we won't do anything about it. Western governments are afraid to seem racist, for fuck's sake. I don't think that Western governments are afraid to do something about it. I mean, that is the whole reasoning that was given behind us invading over in the Middle East, like places like Iraq and that sort of thing. You know, we claimed that we were going after Saddam Hussein, but then we stopped off at a part of the world where Saddam Hussein actually wasn't to be found. We were told that it was because of weapons of mass destruction. Those things were never found, either by the United Nations, who went and searched before we invaded, and they said, we found nothing, we recommend that you don't go and invade. But then we went and invaded, and we have still to date never found these weapons of mass destruction. We have, however, found weapons of mass distraction. A really good point here someone's put on, and it says, at the same time, ISIS have also bombed Kuwait Mosque, showing that the murdering ISIS do not just come after Western lives. My thoughts and condolences with the people affected in France and Kuwait. That is a really good point to make, because the Islamic State, as we have already discussed on this channel, which I don't believe the Islamic State actually exists in the way that we're being told it exists, the Islamic State are imposing Sharian law. I use that in very loose terms because it's not very Sharian law-y. But they claim to be doing this, these sorts of attacks, because I think the Islamic State have a sort of image. Think, for example, about the Ku Klux Klan that we had. Remember them from years ago? They are still going, by the way, just in case anyone is wondering. But the KKK, they had a sort of image, and that was the white man. And if you were different to that, for example, if you were homosexual, if you were female, if you were a person of colour, any colour, then you were sort of to be gone. I think personally that the Islamic State is sort of similar to that. I think it's kind of the Eastern version of the KKK. So let's just focus on that for a second. The KKK does very well to represent itself, the white man, and they will go after the rights of the white man. They will keep their interests, like, that's their focus. This is what we want, we're gonna get it. And I think it is very similar, because the Islamic State sort of have the thing of the Asian male will be the one to get things right. He is the all-knowing. So women, gay people, white people, any people that are not the typical Asian male that the Islamic State are looking for, they will be tortured. But the important thing to note about that, though, is that their actions, they don't come under Islam. They don't come under any religion. It is easy for me to say today that I can sit here and say these words under the Jewish faith, and then I can go and say whatever the fuck I want. But a lot of people then are going to go, hang on, he's a dickhead. They're not going to sit there and go, the Jewish community are full of dickheads. But the problem that we face with our media sort of supporting this is that someone like today with the French attacks, they can go out to commit the attacks and everyone says that's to do with Muslims, that is to do with Islam. But the truth of the matter is, it is dickheads that went and carried out the attacks. Whether they had flags with them or whether they didn't, doesn't matter. Because it was them people that went and carried out the attack. The faith of Islam did not go and carry out the attack. The faith of Islam, Muslims do not live by the rules of, if you are hard done by, go and blow something up or go and decapitate someone, that sort of thing. The way that you can tell that what I'm saying is the truth is that if that was taught in Muslim teachings, why is there so few killers? Because I know Muslim people and not one of them has gone and committed a murder. So if they're following the teachings, why have they not gone and done it? So there is a lot for you to think about. This is a humongously ginormous task to try and talk about in a video because it is so complicated. People's thoughts, when they are negative about Islam and Muslims, people's thoughts are so deep rooted that it takes a lot of digging to find out the actual true cause as to why people feel the way that they do. But the truth of the matter is, we need to start doing that digging, because people of an Islamic faith in this day and age, if they openly admit, yes, I am Muslim, that is a brave thing to do. Because I can tell you personally that the attacks, the hatred towards Muslims these days is unbelievable. It really is. And when people say in a sort of surprised way that Islam is a religion of peace, that that's what they actually teach, then a lot of people are kind of shocked by that, because they don't believe it, because the media is so quick, as we've seen today, to say it's an Islamist attack. And it's not. It's really not. This is a topic that I may well approach again on this channel, because like I said, it is so complicated and it is so deep rooted, the hatred towards Islam and its people. So leave your comments below, be them good or bad. Leave your comments below, and I will try to sort of get around to them in any future video that I do on this topic. But apart from that, thank you for watching, and my absolute condolences to the families and the friends of those that have been affected by today's attacks in France. You know, with any sort of terrorism attack, people shouldn't have to die like that. Innocent people should not have their lives taken away from them because of the actions or the thoughts of other people. And it is such a shame that that happens. So my absolute condolences to these people. And I hope through doing videos like this that we can help to change minds. Thank you for watching, and speak to you soon.